Hi guys, how are you? Let's see. Okay, so I just wanted to come on real quick. It's gonna be my bedtime soon. It's been like a really long day. Is it not gonna focus over here? Ugh. I have like really long days. And so I just wanted to come on here and kind of like chit chat. There's been so much drama and stress and just craziness, and I felt like I had to just come vent, get my story out, do a story time. Not really like a story time because it's going on right now, so maybe like just a like chit chat, whatever. But I'm gonna try to make it as quick and easy and painless as possible so I can go take my shower and go to bed so I can wake up at 4 tomorrow. So um without going into like a lot of backstory, and if people are interested, I'll go in a backstory in another video, but without getting into it much, I have a daughter, and her dad and I are no longer together. His name is Will. And I'm going to use real names because I hate when you watch a story time and they say like all these fake names and they can't even keep it straight. Like, if you're going to have the balls to go on the internet and talk about someone, like, at least have the balls to say their name. Like, that just irritates me. Like, that's a huge pet peeve of mine. But anyways, his name is Will. We were together for like 5 years total, a little bit over five maybe. But we haven't been together since my daughter was like 2. So it's been like 8 years that we've been apart. And it just didn't work out, whatever. And the last couple months, he's been acting super, super weird. So I'll get into a little background story just so things might make sense to you a little bit more. He lives at home with his parents. He has lived there since like right before him and I broke up. We moved out of our own apartment in with his parents. We could save up to buy a house because that was like when the economy was like tanking and you could get a house for hella cheap and like no interest, whatever. Um, and that was our plan. And then we broke up when I had lived there, and he's never moved out. Like, he's never moved out on his own since then. And he's had the same job for like 10 years now or so, and he works at a government job as a forklift supervisor or a forklift driver for whatever, I don't know. But he makes like really good money, and he has no bills. He has no car payment. He has no rent, mortgage payment. He has no bills that go with your house, like water, sewer, garbage, electricity, like anything. And he's always asking me and my boyfriend Josh for money, like constantly. So, like, I thought that that was weird. And my daughter would come home and say that he had been gone overnight, or he had been gone for, he left for a while, whatever. And when he comes back home, his mom is like, let me see your wallet, let me see your pockets, let me see your cell phone. And like, he's been weird. Like, it's been a thing. Like, it's been talked about often. Like, we've all been worried, and he's been acting hella freaking weird for a long time. So he's been borrowing money from me personally. I'm gonna say like over 6 months. Like, it hasn't been a year because I've lived at my house for a year and it didn't start right away. But a few months after living in my house, it started. So it's definitely been over 6 months. But he's been asking me personally for money every week. He needs to borrow money. And he's asked my boyfriend, he's asked my uncle, he's asked my grandma, like my family, like not his grandma, not his uncle, like my personal uncle, my like, whatever. So it's been like really weird. And so we've all been worried about him. My daughter does not go to school in the town that I live in. It should only be like a 30-minute drive from my house to her school, but with traffic and me coming home at 4 o'clock and having to get in 5 o'clock traffic, it's seriously like an hour and a half, sometimes even 2 hours to go pick her up from school and come to my house. So it makes for like a really, really long day. So the last couple times that I've picked my daughter up from school, she's been like having a real hard time, and she's been like, let's pray for my dad. Like, let's stop what we're doing and just pray for my dad. And I'm always on board. I'm like, that's fine. Like, totally cool. Let's pray for your dad. Like, I'm down. And we've been doing that. She's been sitting in my back seat crying, like having a hard time, whatever. So, it's been a thing. It's been a thing. And last week some drama went down at my daughter's school, and I told her that she could go home early on a Wednesday, and her grandma said no and whatever. And I called her dad to talk to her dad about it, because her grandma will like take over and be the parent, and her grandma does help out a lot or whatever, but like if I say something and I'm the mom, like shit should go, But her grandma was saying no, her grandma wanted it done a certain way. So I called her dad and I was like, hey, I'm just letting you know what happened, like take care of it. And he didn't answer. He never called me back. He never texted me back, never did nothing. My daughter came home that night and she was like, I haven't seen my dad. He wasn't at home. I don't know where he's at. Then for like 4 or 5 nights later, my daughter was like, my dad hasn't been home all week. I don't know what happened to my dad. My dad went missing. Like, yeah, I asked my grandma and grandpa and they've been acting weird. Like, they're lying to me, mom. And she's 10. So like, if you're going to freaking lie to her, at least make it good where she's not going to catch on. She's like, I think they're lying to me, mom. So her dad went missing and no one could find him. No one knew where he was at. Usually he's on Facebook like 20 times a day, like blowing it up on Facebook. And like, you're just like, fucking stop. Like, just, it's so annoying. Like, just quit. And he doesn't ever quit. Like, he just keeps going. So I knew that something was up. Like, everyone knew something was going to come. Everyone knew something was going to happen. We just didn't know what. And then when he went missing, like, everyone got really worried. Especially my daughter. My daughter was like freaked out. And her grandparents were like, he's at his uncle's. He's at his Uncle Paul's. And I don't have any information of his Uncle Paul. So I went on Facebook and I found the new lady that he just married. And I was like, hey, I know you don't know me, but I'm Bethany's mom. Like, Will works with his uncle. That's your husband. Like, is he staying at your house? And she's like, they're at work right now. It's time for work. And I'm like, that's fine. Like, I know that they're at work right now, but like, has he been staying with you for the last week? And she didn't ever respond back. Like, she read it on Facebook, but she never responded back. And then he has another lady that he works with. Her name's Rebecca. And I knew that they were friends or whatever. So I went on his Facebook to fucking stalk him and see who he talks to. And I wrote this girl. I'm like, listen, I know that you work with him. I remember you working with him when I was with him, when we were together and he worked there. Like, I remember you. Like, have you seen him at work? And she's like, I haven't seen him for like 2 weeks, but we don't work in the same building. So, that's normal. I don't know, but I'll find out and I'll get back to you. And I'm like, thank you. Like, we're super worried. We're having a hard time. Like, my daughter's crying. She's like super stressed out. We don't know what's going on. Like, at this point, I legit thought that he had done too much drugs and was probably dead. And I wasn't going to tell my 10-year-old daughter, like, your dad probably did drugs and died, because I don't even have, like, confirmation that he's done drugs. I just know that he's acting weird and needs all my money. I don't even have confirmation that he's dead, and I'm not going to freak my daughter out and him not be dead and then, like, go through all this shit. And my daughter's already been so worried and so emotional that I kind of just stayed quiet and, like, prayed about it because I didn't know what else to do. So it's been, like, really crazy, and she was being lied to, and, like, we knew right away she was being lied to. Or I knew right away. I don't know if she did, but. So then, after, like, 4 or 5 days of, like, no one responding back, like, knowing that he wasn't at work, like, you just know, like, if he's gonna be at someone's house, they're gonna be open with you. They're gonna be like, yeah, he's here. He doesn't want you to mess with him. Leave him alone. Like, whatever, like, yeah, he's here. When he gets here tonight, I'll have him write you or call you or just something, and no one ever did that. No one ever said that. So I knew something was up. So her dad had went missing and we had no idea where he was at. And my daughter was like super freaked out. She knew people were lying to her and it's been awful. And it took us 4 days, like 4 days. I think it took us 4 days of just knowing that he was missing and not ever knowing where he was, not hearing from him, not a phone call, not anything. And my daughter, like, every day was like keeping up on it. Like, she was like real hardcore on who I had wrote, who I had talked to. And I'm not one of those people who lie to my kids to like keep them from feelings or whatever. If something goes down, I'm 110% honest with what happens to my kids. If I did something in the wrong and I was a psycho, I tell them 100%. If someone else did something wrong and was a psycho, I tell them 100%. Like, I get my kids involved. I'm not going to keep stuff from them. I know, like, some parents don't believe in that. They don't believe, like, when you're worried, you should tell your kids. And with the exception of not telling her, like, hey, I think your dad did drugs is dead. With that exception of shutting my mouth and not saying anything just because I didn't know for sure. So, like, if I can only speculate something, I won't say it to my kids. But if I have proof of something, my kids know. Like, right away, my kids know. So, yeah, I had no idea where he was at. And it was crazy. Like, there was so much drama in our house and just, like, tension and worrying and whatever. And that is the story of what happened just 3 days ago at my house. And if you guys like this video, I will tell you how we found him, where we found him, what he's doing, and just whatever, because it's been one of those days. It's been pretty crazy. But it's late now, and it's past my bedtime, and it's already like a fucking 10 or 12 minute video, so I'm gonna get going. But I had to just get this off my chest. Like, I've been so stressed, and no one but my mom and my boyfriend know. Besides, like, my daughter and her family, but my family doesn't know. So, yeah. I just had to come and just put it all out there. Good night. I love you. I'll see you later. Bye.